Hey everyone, so we're going to start part 3 of the SHSAT 2021 math review. So we're going to start at problem 74. So the probability of drawing a red candy at random from a bag of 25 candies is 2 over 5. After 5 red candies are removed from the bag, what is the probability of randomly drawing a red candy from the bag? Okay, so let's first figure out how many red candies we have to start with. So if we have 25 candies and the probability of drawing a red candy is 2 over 5, then we can multiply them to figure out how many red candies we have to start with. So we have 10 red candies to start with. And now we're taking out 5 red candies, right? We're withdrawing 5 red candies. So we are left with 5 red candies, and the total number of candies started at 25, but we removed 5 red candies, right? So we're left with 20 total candies. Okay. And we're asked what the new probability is of drawing a red candy from the bag. So if we have 5 red candies left and 20 total candies left, then the probability of drawing a red now becomes 1 over 4. So that would be H. Okay. Alright. Each number in a sequence is formed by doubling the previous number and then adding 1. If the 9th number in the sequence is 63, what is the 10th number minus the 7th number? Alright, so let's find the 10th number first. So I'm going to label that as n sub 10 for the 10th number. So we know that the 9th number is 63. And we're told that to get the next number, each number, we have to double the previous number. So we're going to double 63 and add 1. So that would be 127. So that would be our 10th number. And now we can work backwards, right? So to express this generally, actually I'm going to call this A of n for the 10th number. So to express this generally, we can say that to get our nth number, we have to double our previous number, and then add 1 to that. So, right, so we already got A10, right? And we know to start with that A9 is 63. So now we can work backwards to get our 7th number. So we know that A8, so let's plug in n is 9. So we know A9 is going to be 2 times A8 plus 1. And we know that A9 is just 63. So 63 is 2 times A8 plus 1. So let me give myself a little more space. Alright, so then we're gonna, if we were to solve for A8, we would get that it would just be 31, right, from that. And then we're gonna find A7 in a similar way. So we're plugging in n is equal to 8 into this recursive formula right here. So A8 is 2A7, 2A7, sorry, hang on. Okay, so A8 is 2A7 plus 1. So then we know A8 is 31. So that's 2A7 plus 1. And then we just algebraically solve for A7. So that's our 7th number. And we would get A7 is 15. Right, so we know A7 is 15. We know furthermore that we solved for A10 being 127. And now let's look at what we're asked in the question. So what we're being asked for in this question is to take our 10th number minus our 7th number. So basically A10 minus A7. So that would just be 127 minus 15, which would just be 1, 1, 2. So that would be answer choice C. Okay. So now let's move on to 76. All right. So we have a skating championship, and there are 7 judges who each award a score for each skater's performance. The highest and lowest scores given to each skater are discarded, and the mean of the remaining scores is then calculated and reported as the skater's final score. What is the final score for the skater who received the score shown above from the judges? Okay. So to get the final score, first we remove high and low score, and then we take the average or mean of our remaining scores. Okay. So let's look at the 7 scores we have here. So first we're going to start by removing the min score, which is 8.2, I think. And then the max score in this case would be 9.0. All right, and now we have these 5 scores, and we need to average them to get our final score. So this is just a case of like simple arithmetic. I assume that you know how to do that. So I think eyeballing it would be, it would be, I think 8.70, but you can check that. Just take the mean of these 5 numbers, and yeah, you'll get your answer. Yeah. Okay. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. I think I was wrong here. I think that it would be 8.64. Let me check that quickly. But yeah, you can do this like via arithmetic. Yeah, so it's 8.64. Okay. Alright, so now let's go on to 77. So a piece of wood that is 4.5 feet long is cut into 2 pieces of different lengths. The shorter piece has a length of x feet, and we're asked which inequality expresses all possible values of x. Okay, so we know that the length of the wood is 4.5, and it's cut into 2 pieces. So this is our wood, right? And it is cut into 2 pieces of different lengths. So the shorter piece has a length of x feet. And we know that that's the shorter piece. So if we take actually half of this length, that would be 2 1/4, right? That's half of 4.5. So that might be the halfway point here. And we know that x is the shorter piece, so x needs to be less than this halfway point. So it needs to be less than that. But we know that all lengths also must be greater than or equal to 0, because you can't have a length less than 0. So the inequality that would represent this is, and right, it can't be equal to 0, right? Because then it wouldn't really be a length. So Right, so this would be the correct inequality then. Okay. All right, so 78, we have a shaded area, and we're being asked what this shaded area is. Okay, so what is the area in square units of the shaded region in the above figure? Okay, so this is sort of an irregular shape, but we can take this larger triangle right here, and I'm actually going to subtract out this smaller triangle. Right, so if I take the area of the black triangle and I subtract out the area of the blue triangle, then I get the area of the shaded region. So let's actually do that. So if we look at the area of the black triangle, this length is just 20, and the width, or the base, is also 20. So we'll say area of the large triangle is 20 times 20 over 2, which would be 200. And if we look at the area of the small triangle, that's just, here, let's see, that would be 15, and then 10. So that would be 15 times 10 over 2, which would be 75. So now we need to subtract these two quantities. So we know area of the shaded region is AL minus A large minus A small, so that would just be 125. So that would be F. Okay. All right, so now this question. Yesterday in Centerville, the highest Fahrenheit temperature was 86 and the lowest was 68. What was the difference between these temperatures in Celsius? Okay, so I'm going to figure out what 86 degrees Fahrenheit is in Celsius. I'm going to figure out what 68 degrees Fahrenheit is in Celsius, and I'm going to subtract the two amounts. So let's figure out 86 first. So I'm just plugging it into the formula and solving for Celsius. So that would be 54 times 5 over 9. This is just 6. So that's 30 degrees Celsius for my 86 degrees. And now let's do my 68 degrees. So we would have 68 is 9 over 5 C plus 32. So 9 over 5 C is equal to, I think that would be 36. And then C is equal to 36 times 5 over 9. So that's 20. So this is in Celsius, I think. Okay, so one was 30 degrees Celsius, one was 20 degrees. So the difference between these temperatures in Celsius would just be 10 degrees Celsius. Okay, so now we're going to go on to 80. Okay. So x is an odd number. And then in terms of x, what is the sum of the two even numbers closest to x? Okay, so let's say that x is 1. So then we would have 0 and 2, right? So those are the even numbers closest to x, right? And 2 would just be x plus 1, and 0 would be x minus 1. So more generally, if we have x and x is an odd number, then if we increase x by 1, that's going to be an even number. If we decrease x by 1, that would be an even number as well, if x is odd. And now we're being asked what the sum is of those two even numbers closest to x. So that would be x minus 1 plus x plus 1, and that would just be 2x. Okay. Okay. In 1991, the total public debt of the U.S. was $3.6 trillion. In that year, there were about 250 million people in the U.S. Which amount is the best estimate for the public debt per person for that year? So we know that we're going to take the total debt, so that's this quantity, and then we're going to divide by the total number of people, and that would give us our debt per person. So this is just a game of canceling out zeros, and then one more. Okay, so this is equal to 25 divided by 360000, and then this would just be so that's 1, then 140, and then I think that would be 5, then 150, which is 6. Yeah, and then let's see, are any of those answers correct? Oh, I'm sorry, this would be 110, because 36 minus 25 is 11, so 110, then this would be 100, so that would be 140, and then this would be 10, so that would be 100, so it would be 144, and then you would just carry the remaining zeros probably. So if I had to guess, I mean, you can do the division right by yourself, but if I had to guess, here, let me actually check that. Right, yeah, so it would be right, so you would do the division and you would find that it would be B. Yeah. All right, and we'll stop that right there.